Today, we are going to talk about self-interest, shared success, enduring puzzle of cooperation. This will be an exploration of 5 foundational theories that map the landscape of human collaboration. Now, the paradox of the group. If cooperation is so beneficial, what makes it so hard to achieve and sustain? The collective benefits of cooperation are often undermined by individuals' selfish interests, and this creates a constant risk of social collapse. We have this enduring battle of collective benefit versus individual incentive, or what is known as the free rider problem by Mancur Olson. Now, the 5 lenses of understanding cooperation. To understand this complex puzzle, we must examine 5 pivotal thinkers that each offer a different perspective on how to enable or inhibit our ability to work together. First, we have Scott. Next, we have Mancur Olson. Next, we have Tönnies. And then we have Putnam. And of course, we have Hobbes. They will all explain this issue of the puzzle of cooperation. First, let's start with the Hobbesian combat. Hobbes believed in a state of nature, so rational fear prevents cooperation. There must be a supreme power, what he deems the Leviathan, is necessary to enforce order. It gives us this lens of the logic of the sovereign state. Hobbes provides the foundational justification for a strong, centralized state. The argument is that he holds is that we trade a degree of our individuality for security and a possibility of cooperation, without a credible threat of punishment or non-society defaults to a war of all against all. State is not just a single political entity, it is the fundamental mechanism for enforcing our cooperation. If powerful state is the answer, why do some states and the societies they govern succeed so more than others? Now, Putnam. His thesis is that the performance of institutions depends on the vibrance of civic life, dense connected networks of association. It builds trust and provides what he calls social capital, which are the preconditions for effective governance. Now, he talks about the power of trust and reciprocities in these networks. Putnam's research in Italy demonstrated that the North and South regions with high social capital, example, more choirs clubs, mutual aid societies, had more effective and responsible governments, regardless of the formal institutional design. Trust, it fostered through repeated and informal interaction, and this is the lubricant of cooperation. So the key takeaway is that formal rules for Thomas Hobbes are just not enough. They must be built upon a foundation of informal norms and trust. And as we can see here, that civic networks builds trust of norms and reciprocity, and this fosters cooperation. And in turn, it strengthens the institutions that allow this to happen. Now, Tönnies offers the lens of modernization entails a fundamental shift from Gemeinschaft, which means community. Gemeinschaft is German, to Gesellschaft, society. So cooperation moves from being impersonal, trust-based norms to relying on impersonal formal norms. So, personal, trust-based norms to relying on impersonal formal norms. And so this kind of shift into modernization changes the dynamics of our relations in terms of society. So why institutions replace community? So as societies grow larger and scale and become more complex, the dense face-to-face interactions of Gemeinschaft become impossible to maintain. We lose the shared norms and high trust that made cooperation more real, authentic, and organic. In response to modernization, we create the formal institutions of Gesellschaft. So these are social bonds of laws, contracts, bureaucracies to serve the same function at scale. So this becomes a buffer between governance and the people. So it's a drastic shift from, a drastic transition, to say. Now, the rise of the formal state, such as Hobbes stated, and the challenges of cooperation in large groups, as Mancur Olson argues, are direct consequences of this historical shift away from community-based trust. Now, let's get into the Olson dilemma. Now, he offers a lens that in large groups, the national individual choice is the free ride on the efforts of others. Now, because of this free riding that happens, this leads to a collective failure to achieve shared goals unless, it's important, there is incentives for this. Incentives are provided for them to contribute back to this society and to the group. So it becomes more of a selfish kind of belief, more so than the public good and contributing to the community. Now, the logic of collective action and inaction. Olson's theory explains why small, focused groups with a lot at stake, example, lobby groups, are often more effective than large, diffuse groups. So, think taxpayers, consumers. So even when the latter have more members, the solution lies in selective incentives. So private benefits or even punishments that are only available to those who contribute. So some examples of selected incentives and targeted incentives is union membership benefits, tax penalties, professional association discounts. So, by contributing back to society, you get all these kind of benefits given to you. So there's incentivized. So it really helps, a lot of people, not everyone, to free ride, since it's pretty beneficial. If people are giving back to the community, it just makes sense. So goodwill is not enough to power large-scale cooperation. This is also theory. The instructive structure is paramount. And then we're going to James C. Scott's lens. Now, he offers a critique that centralized, sovereign, top-down plans that Thomas Hobbes kind of argued for often fail because they cannot see or value like the essential local knowledge, which he calls matisse. This is like street knowledge. This is people living their day to day. There's this whole kind of community and individuals of people that are important to society that the centralized top-down doesn't get. So these states impose simplified, legible grids on complex realities. It's a top-down approach and imposing these rules, but they don't understand what's needed. So they're destroying the very systems that they seek to improve. So they do have great theories in terms of making society better and a lot of research, maybe, or a lot of data. But in the real world setting, it's kind of synthesized. So in the real world setting, the synthesized kind of theories do not actually play out to benefit society. And so it's important to have these people of local knowledge to play a part. And this is what Scott is arguing about. His core main point, that you need these people at the bottom to also play a part in governance and society and these institutions and designing and crafting them. Or you're just wasting your time on kind of this centralized top-down approach. So the case for seeing from the ground up. So Scott argues that effective, resilient systems are often those that evolve from, again, bottom up, adapting to local conditions and leveraging the tacit knowledge of practitioners. Now, this hubris essential of a central planner, as discussed, like Hobbes' Leviathan kind of theory, lies in the belief that it can engineer society without this deep, contextual, authentic kind of understanding of the society. So a functioning society requires respecting and incorporating local and formal knowledge, not just imposing like these formal universal rules. This is a direct challenge to kind of oversimplify the state-centric solutions. So here's a map of pretty much a breakdown of the problem space. Over here we have Hobbes, and then we have Olson kind of looking in the middle of it, and then we have kind of Putnam, where he has a complete bottom up importance, and then we have Scott's kind of critique. So this grid kind of shows you the power dynamics of one side, extreme side, say, of Hobbes, to a more kind of community-based social bonds, like denser social capital beliefs, and community-based kind of models. So this is a diagnostic toolkit for collective action. These lenses don't offer, of course, a simple solution or answer, but it provides a powerful framework for analysis. So when you're confronting a problem of, say, cooperation or an issue, these lenses allow us to seek the common questions that occur. Like, with Hobbes, is failure of is this a failed coercive enforcement? Putnam, is there a deficit of trust in social capital? Scott offering the question of, is the top-down solution ignoring vital local knowledge? Olson offering the question of, are the incentives misaligned for a large group? Maybe the incentives and have to change, or the benefits have to change in a large group in order to get people to contribute back instead of becoming free riders. And Tönnies, are we trying to apply community norms to impersonal society norms? Now, understanding the terrain is the first step towards navigating successfully. So you can use these kind of lenses to kind of see how groups, whether they be small or large, how the core issues and problems that is happening between the institutions and the people themselves. And you can kind of use these lenses and frameworks to really do analysis of why this is happening and try to incorporate or build solutions in order to, kind of create any type of fundamental change or understand what has to happen in a society or community in order for people to live let's say a peaceful or a better life. So this is a breakdown of how groups and communities operate, and I have given you a rundown of Hobbes, Putnam, Olson, Tönnies to help you understand how issues can arise in large groups and how to potentially solve them by looking at it a different lens and really be empathetic in terms of how people and institutions is very, very fragile, and they need to be designed in order for people to fundamentally get along.